Hey there, my fellow language gamers, and welcome back to the channel where we are discussing the deeper strategy and special rules in this incredible language learning card game called Heading into Language Land. You can learn more about this game right here on my YouTube channel or visit languagecardgames.com. We're playing it online every Saturday for free with players from around the world in various foreign languages. In this particular playlist that I've made, again, we're discussing the deeper strategies because a lot of people who've been following this channel for long, they already know the basic rules. So this is to help them understand more things that they can do in this game in terms of strategy. And we're looking at some of the special power texts written below the word categories on the card. The cool thing about this game is that you can just ignore these special rule texts or special power texts to play the game in a very simple way that just focuses on speaking about the topics. So there's the basic way to play for people who are just casual gamers and just want to focus on the language learning alone. And then there's the more strategic way and more complex way that is more for the hardcore experienced gamers who want more strategy and who want more, stuff like that. So that's what we're getting into in this playlist. Today we're going to look at the location called Froward. So Froward, in the story that I wrote, it's sort of like an Alice in Wonderland style location where everything's out of place, backwards, upside down, not as expected, and things rarely obey the normal physical laws of the universe. You can see in the picture, it's basically upside down. The waterfall should be going this way, right? But we can see the character Metamet and his owl and staff, and he's trying to figure out how to go into this place, which is showing itself already to be very crazy and upside down. So this is a topsy-turvy place where everything is literally put on its head. And how it functions in the game is there's a rule text which says, enter and you may roll a dice. On a 4 or higher, switch the positions of any two spaces. Pawns stay with their spaces. So this is a card that's going to help us to move around spaces on the board at will. So that allows for a lot of pretty crazy things to happen. Now remember, first you're going to have to enter here successfully. So you're going to have to roll a dice, speak about one of these topics, and move in successfully. And then you have to roll another dice and you have to get a 4, a 5, or a 6 in order to use that power text if you want to. You don't have to use that power text. It says you may, so you can choose not to. But if you want to try, you would roll the dice again after getting in there successfully, and then on the 4 or higher, you can choose any two spaces on this board and switch their positions or exchange their positions. So one of the first and most obvious ways I think you could use this power is to essentially teleport yourself far across the board to any place that you want to go. Really, you could try to move yourself to a very advantageous place. Even if it's very far away, you can go there directly. So it doesn't matter how many characters you have, it doesn't matter how slow they are. You can basically just use that to teleport. So in that case, the forward card would go with you. That would be one of the spaces that you choose to move. So let's make an example of that. Let's say I wanted to go to Wordsway, because Wordsway is a place where I could exchange pickups and gain LP. Maybe I have 9 LP and I want to win the game with 10 LP, so if I just move over here real quick and access this power, I'm going to win the game. So what I would do is I would pick up this space, put it here, and then shift this space. Remember, pawns have to stay with the spaces. If you move any spaces that have pawns on them, the pawns gotta stay on those spaces. So I moved to here, and now my turn has ended. But on my next turn, I'm in a great position to just move directly to the space that I wanted, Wordsway. And now look, if nobody is around here to potentially take this forward space away, I could jump back out and move and use the forward power again. So this is kind of like my teleportation machine in a way. Now, here's another thing I want you to consider. Using this space could be a good way to escape from danger. So if there's other players around you, I mean, here we just have one. Maybe he's really strong and he's kind of got you cornered because if you move there or there or there, he's still going to attack and battle you on his next turn. So I could decide that I want to try to move to forward and try to use that power simply so that I could get as far away from that player or players as possible. Remember that the board could sometimes be quite large. You can build the board as small or as large as you want. So the larger the board, the more amazing forward can be because you can basically cross the field in no time. You could cross the field to escape from someone, or let's imagine he was down here and I want to get into a battle with him. Then, in that case, what I might do is decide to shift this space and come down here so that it's not easy for him to escape me. Because if he moves to here, to here, to here, or to here, he's still within range of where I just moved, and on my next turn, I'll be able to attack them. Another way we could use this card is, and we want to try to do this as much as possible, if we are moving away from a player, we want to try to replace that space with something that would put them at a disadvantage. So let's imagine that, let's have another player here. Let me get another pawn. Let's imagine that we have another player up here. What I could do is, I could potentially do a few things at once here. There might be something advantageous up here that I want to get. I also realize that maybe I want to get away from this guy. Maybe I don't want to battle him. I also can think about, hey, if I shift this player down to here, well, now that's going to put them at odds with each other, and there's going to be a greater chance that they're going to get into some kind of a scuffle down here, some kind of a battle that's going to hurt them both, potentially. So trying to move other players together to make them fight and to put them at a disadvantage could be helpful as well. One important thing I want you to remember when you use forward is that think about what's going to happen next, because other players can use the forward card too. So depending on where that card ends up, remember that on your next turn, you're going to be moving off of it. So if it's near to other players, that's going to be able to give them the chance to use it next. So if you start to use that card, be careful where it ends up. Think about the next steps from other players that will be coming. One final note before we go is to remind you that you don't have to move the forward card. So if you move into forward successfully, you can move 2 other spaces as you like. So you could move another location closer to you. You could shift. You could maybe help a player to escape. Maybe if you have a friend or ally at the table and you want to get them out of harm's way, you could do that. Or like I showed you before, you could move a player closer to another player to sort of corner them and get them into a fight that they don't really want to be a part of. Oh, and I pulled out some of these other locations just to remind you that these are some great locations that you might want to try to go to. Words Way, to trade in a pickup and gain LP. Embertel, to gain allies on your team. And the Speak Plains, because if you move on to there, you could go anywhere you want on your next turn. And Speak Plains is a sure thing, whereas with Forward, you have a 50-50 chance of being able to move like that. So those are some of the locations that you might want to go to. And other things like allies or weapons, which other people fail to get, if you can remember their position on the board, remember those would stay where they are and they're turned back face down. If other people fail to get them and you remember where they are, those might be something that you want to move towards with this forward card. So I hope this helps you out. Definitely try to use forward in this way the next time you have the chance. I'll see you guys back here in the next one. Happy language gaming.